Weight gain shaming. Background. I have always been underweight. I was born 3 weeks late. Supposedly, this could be a lie I was told, and I weighed 6 pounds even. I lost 2 pounds while I was in the hospital after I was born. My entire life I've eaten a lot. Unless I get overly upset, then I can't eat. It just comes right back up, and not by choice. They've tested and checked my thyroid multiple times, but it's always been normal. I just don't seem to gain weight. Current story. Last night, I went to do my weekly weighing. My being underweight has my doctor monitoring my weight while pregnant, and I screamed. I was so excited. I had never weighed this much before in my life. My husband had me step off the scale so he could video it. I broke 100 pounds. I couldn't stop smiling at my achievement. We decided to celebrate my achievement by making my favorite muffins. My husband insisted on telling his parents. He later apologized. He knows he shouldn't have pushed it about my weight gain. After a bit of push, I finally told them. You see, they love to shame their kids about their weight. She goes back and forth between telling her daughter she's fat. She's not. I very much envy her body in the least creepy way possible, but I have never said any of this to anybody. I just assure her what her mom says isn't true, and that she's going to kill herself if she doesn't stop with all these water fasts and diets. I'm worried she has an eating disorder. But I can't take her to the doctor or convince her that she has a problem. If you have advice on this, that'd be great. She shamed her oldest son because he was being unhealthy by pushing himself too hard and starving himself when he started going to the gym. He very much paced himself. He started off with once a week, and within 6 months he was going every other day by adding a day of the week every month. And because he stopped eating 5 mountains of food every time he ate, he went from almost 300 pounds to almost 215 pounds in the last year and a half. We don't get along very well, but even I was proud of him. My husband is currently trying to lose weight, and she hates it. She's been shaming him, telling him how weird he's going to look, and how he's starving himself. He's cut back to 2 normal servings at dinner, and 1 serving at breakfast and lunch. He used to eat 3 servings at every meal. He's not starving himself. He just isn't as hungry since he's started working out and getting out of the house. Their youngest, they're doing everything they can to make him fat. They won't even let him leave the house to walk, or get him a basketball goal. I was able to find him a free one and offered to go get it, and they said no. Note, my biggest fear is anything that has to do with basketball. You get the idea. Well, they started, jokingly, calling me a fat cow, a pig, a fatty, and numerous other things. They never said congratulations, and teased me when we said we were gonna celebrate with muffins. My husband shut it down, though, thankfully. I know none of it was true, but it's the fact that they do this to everyone is what hurts. I try to be a healthy person. They won't buy vegetables, and they cuss and scream when we buy them to cook, so there's that. Never thought I'd get yelled at for eating vegetables, but it's not safe to walk alone in my town and I'm not allowed to take his siblings walking with me, so I'm kind of stuck at the house. If they won't give the means for me to gain weight in a healthy way, or for their kids to be healthy, I honestly feel like they're doing these things on purpose. My monster-in-law ruined our wedding. Please tell me I'm not crazy. My husband was the golden child in his family. He's a triplet. His twin sisters, Tweedledee and Tweedledum, are both narcs. His mother was a sociopath, and his father was a covert narc enabler to his mother. His mother treated him as a surrogate husband, and she definitely pitted him against his 2 sisters. I didn't know what the family dynamic was, because all my husband ever told me was that he had a good childhood, and that his family was great. My own family was narcissistic, and I'd estranged myself from them in order to be with my husband. I was so hopeful to be accepted by his family. Since I'm the scapegoat of my own family, I had no family who would come to our wedding. None of my family would help me plan anything. His mom walked all over me, and chose our wedding colors, the flowers, the venues, and made the guest list. Not one guest was mine. Nothing I said was respected. I was so scared to make her mad, because I felt that this was my last chance to have a family since I'd already been estranged from mine. I started having panic attacks, and was begging my husband to just marry me in court. I didn't want to go to a wedding that wasn't really mine, with strangers for guests. One day his mother opened up her wedding album, plopped it in my lap, and grinned. Her wedding was at the same venue she'd chosen for ours. The colors, the dresses, the time of year, it was all the same. She was reenacting her own wedding. She'd make fun of my weight, and when she found out my parents had molested me and beaten me, she told me she doubted that was the truth. When I was having my wedding dress altered, she insisted on staying in the room while I undressed, and pinched my butt while commenting on how large I was. She and my sister-in-law talked about how ugly the dress was while it was being altered. Being in the room with her felt like I was being sized up by an ex-girlfriend, not my 63-year-old mother-in-law. I had no idea that she had in fact sexually abused my husband when he was growing up. She'd walk around the house naked, still does, even with guests staying, have him rub her feet down with lotion, take a bath while he showered in the same room, use the bathroom in front of him, and barge in while he was changing, showering, or using the restroom. When we visited her, everywhere we went she insisted on sitting next to my husband and making me sit across from them. My husband kept pushing me to just deal with it, just do what she was commanding, and to just pretend everything was fine so we didn't embarrass his family and make his mom mad. I was scared because all I could see was a future controlled by his mother. She was number one to him. That's how it felt. I did not feel like his wife. It felt like she was the wife. I had a nervous breakdown and told him either he stood up for me, or I would leave him. He finally stood up to them over the phone, and his mother told him to choose either them or me. There's 4 of us and 1 of her, and then his dad threatened to disown him. All the while they criticized me for not having any family to attend the wedding, and told us how embarrassing that would look to their wedding guests. We ended up eloping to Vegas. His mother went to the jeweler's that was resizing my engagement ring, and took the family diamond out of it, then asked them to put a new diamond in it on our bill, knowing we couldn't afford it. She also stole the wedding presents guests had left at her house to give to us. Then she reached out to my mother and made friends with her, in spite of the fact that I told her my mother had molested me and my stepfather was physically abusive. My father-in-law just completely stopped speaking to my husband. My husband kept trying to work things out with his mother, even after all of this. He wrote them letter after letter and had tons of phone conversations trying to show them how they'd hurt us and what they'd done wrong. No matter how much he explained, they wouldn't get it. We got non-stop guilt trips, excuses, and fake apologies like sorry, but I was mad. His sister yelled at him, "I can't believe you're choosing her over mom." It was insane. Eventually my husband gave up and told them not to contact us ever again. I was so relieved. She still is best friends with my mom, and she recently found our address, so of course she sends creepy packages to my husband in the mail. One Easter she sent him a children's book called Runaway Bunny, where the baby bunny runs away from his mother and the mother chases after him. In the end the mother tells the baby, "I'll always find you." Gave me chills to read it. She'd also stuffed the whole book with clippings from Reader's Digest about how precious mothers are. Creepy. My mother-in-law did a lot of damage to our marriage, and the way my husband handled things really hurt me and made it difficult to trust him. I felt very unloved. We're still trying to recover from the ways they've hurt our relationship. They can make him feel guilty fairly easily, and he feels compelled to believe the best about them in spite of anything they say or do. It's 3 years later now, and only 6 months ago did he start therapy, because I insisted he needed to deal with his problems, and stop ignoring them because it was hurting our marriage. He's starting to heal little by little. I guess my heart just hurts still. I don't really know how to get past this. I'd been dreaming of a nice family, and a beautiful wedding day my entire life, and now those dreams are dead. I know his mother will never stop stalking him until she dies. I don't know how to trust my husband. I don't feel like I matter to him. He's trying now, but I can't forget the way he resented me for upsetting his family. He said he wanted to blame someone, so he blamed me. He's apologized for everything, and is starting to see through his mother's bullshit, but I'm still on the fence about trusting him again. I'm trying to focus on my own healing from my own family, but it's hard when I know my parents and his parents both hate me. I had a suicide attempt a few months ago because I just wanted to stop hurting and feeling so hated. That only confirmed their story that I'm crazy. Thankfully, I have a really great trauma therapist who understands narcissism, and in just a few months with her, I felt much better. My family sucks and refuse to talk to me. Hi everyone. I've never posted on here before, but I was directed here by someone over on another subreddit and I've been lurking for a while. Sorry for any formatting issues. I'm on mobile. So, my 23F family is extremely religious. Like, 6 kids, church every Sunday, prayer meetings almost every day, touching of any kind is sinful, kind of religious. I have lots of horror stories of what it was like to grow up in that environment, and I'll probably post some of them, but today I just wanted to post about the most recent example of just how awful they are. I moved in with my boyfriend, 23M of 5.5 years in January of this year. I didn't tell my family where I was moving because there would be a ton of shaming, manipulating me into staying, name calling, the works. All they knew was that I was across the country and they couldn't visit me. Personally, I'm happier than I've ever been and I've been able to see just how bad it was to live there. My boyfriend is the most amazing person I could have ever met and I'm so grateful that he's helped me out through this. His family is 100% on my side and super supportive of us. I've kept all communication with my family very vague, and around once a week, well, my oldest sister, who is the epitome of a Karen, decided that she would force me to tell my family where I am, who I'm staying with. I'm a horrible liar, and can't lie to save my life. I also couldn't avoid her questions since she had called me and sprung it on me. Basically just asking me questions rapid fire on my whereabouts, my boyfriend, my address, all that stuff. I hung up on her and had a massive panic attack. Couldn't breathe, started dissociating heavily, shaking. My boyfriend walked into me on the floor in the fetal position in a full-blown attack, and did exactly what I've shown him I need during an attack and managed to stop the spiral before it got too bad. He helped me write a text to my family explaining that yes, I am living with him, and this is my choice, and I won't be tolerating any savior methods, questions about my whereabouts, or anything that makes me feel pressured. One sister took it well at first and explained that I can choose my faith and she doesn't have to make sense of it. She later turned around and told me she felt heavy for me and would be praying for my soul. Karen took it just as I expected and berated me about sinning, and how I know that it's wrong and I'm choosing to still live in sin. Then she began asking me very personal questions I was not comfortable answering, so I muted her number and haven't talked to her since. She also set my second oldest niece on me to ask the same questions and report back to her. My mother told me she's disappointed in me, and thought I was better than that. Expected, so not a big deal. My dad won't talk to me. Neither of my brothers have answered me, which is fine because one of them is an abusive jerk who I didn't even bother to text, and just decided to let him find out through the inevitable gossip. That's going to happen there anyways, and the other is pretty chill. Only one sister is supportive of me and didn't shame me, and she's also not religious anymore, so I knew she would have no problem with it. I did not want them to know where I was, and I was not ready for them to know anything. My sister Karen is a bully, and thinks she's entitled to bring me to accountability by exposing my sins to the rest of my family. I'm angry at her, and I'm sad that I've lost my family over something that shouldn't matter. They've all since decided that I need to be shunned or have blocked me so I can't talk to them. Anyways, this was rant Y and I don't really know why I'm posting this, but yeah, I'll have more stories eventually about the abuse and manipulation that goes on inside extreme religious families. Thanks for listening, Reddit.